Okay, so today we're gonna start talking about research paper. Okay, that's the main topic this semester. We have Jamie here today to observe the class. No pause. That's also for you. Okay, so we talked about paraphrasing last time, and today we're gonna. You guys have always been wondering, like, what kind of paper you are going to produce in the end of the semester. So this is something in general, what a research paper is like. So today we're gonna describe the general processes of writing a research paper, and we're gonna have to explain the features and characteristics of two common types of research paper: argumentative and analytical. Okay, and how they differ. Okay, so before we start the research paper, come on in. So here are two questions. Okay, so what is a research paper? Okay, and how is it different from the diagnostic paper you wrote for the last month? Would you please just go talk to the person next to you? You or three people together discuss this question.
I think research paper is more having a long research paper. You are given a topic and you want to get some opinion about it. Maybe you can set up and maybe you just do homework. You have to do a lot of background research.
You're talking about like state when the research paper, you're not like answering
So the thing that diagnostic paper you're writing was
the research.
I guess.
Like in the research paper, it is not necessary for you to have.
You were saying that like time's not okay.
It's not like
So maybe you just do some research. You don't need to say what's your own.
to organize prepare research
Nothing that won't work. So you have to over there. Sorry.
What did you say?
based on we can call something
okay. So any answers, thoughts, ideas? So what's the difference between a research paper and diagnostic paper you were writing?
The research paper, I think we need to research first and get some resource, of course, and then write the paper. And as for diagnostic essay, we just write after we read an article, and we didn't quote something from the article, just write our own opinion and yeah.
Very good. Okay. Anyone else? Any thoughts, ideas?
the research paper is somewhat like more formal.
It's more formal. Okay.
At least for diagnosis, you don't have to cite anything.
Yeah, you didn't really have to cite anything for the diagnostic paper, right? Yeah. So about like, let's think about it in this way. So regarding argumentative and analytical, so which one do you think is argumentative and which one do you think is analytical? Research paper, the diagnostic paper? Analytical? Okay, you have analyzed something, okay? But definitely diagnostic paper you were writing was argumentative, right? But do you think research paper can be argumentative as well? Yeah. Yeah, you can argue for something, okay, for your own stance, your own idea, okay? So now let's take a look at the teacher's lecture. So if you can go to your Blogger and download that on your desktop. Okay, read it for, I'll give you guys maybe for like 2 or 3 minutes, okay? You don't have to go into details, but like just scan it through and get the main points, okay? What is a research paper like? Okay, done? Okay, let's just take a look at this together on the major points here. So, first of all, writing a research paper can be really exciting. Okay, I don't know whether that's true or false. You know, maybe that's a lie. Okay, so what makes writing a research paper so exciting? Okay, so first you have to know this is not a paper for TOEFL or for me, okay? You are writing this paper not for me, okay? So this is a paper that follows the same process on a smaller scale, okay? So you have to follow the rules when you write your paper. And that's the core question in here. So why do we write a research paper? Especially when other people have already written on the same topic in here. So why do we still need to write such a paper? Does it make any sense to you? Different opinions, okay? And you have to evaluate their opinions, okay? So, look here. Just because your idea is not revolutionary doesn't mean that your paper won't have value, okay? You don't necessarily have to provide new ideas or new thoughts on a certain topic, but still you can write a research paper. So your value is here, synthesizer and critical thinker, okay? So what's the meaning of the word synthesize here? This is synthesize.
Put different ideas together.
Yeah, putting different ideas together, okay, combining different ideas. Okay, that's good. So, as this is really important. Okay, pay attention to this part. So, as an intelligent, okay, analytical person, you have the ability to analyze and synthesize things that other people do not have the time to read. Okay, so for example, if, let's say, there's a topic on animal protection or something, okay? So I'm pretty interested in that topic, but I don't have the time to read all those articles or papers or, you know, even newspapers, magazines, just to know this topic. But maybe you guys can, you know, put those things together and write a paper and tell me, okay, so those are the things about animal protection, okay? So remember, as an intelligent, analytical person, okay, you have to be really smart to write a research paper. So no dumb person can read a research paper, okay? What else is there? Okay, you have to offer an intelligent analysis, okay? Which means that you're not only repeating other people's ideas. You have to put them together, you know, summarize, paraphrase, synthesize, and give me the really good paper, okay? And when you write your research paper, you have to think about like what kind of topic you are interested in, okay? I had some students last semester. So when they were writing their paper, they were struggling, okay? There was one guy, okay, that was incredible. So he was really, really interested in cosmetics, like makeups, you know. And he was like, okay, so I really want to discover like how to, you know, provide the healthy and really good ingredients for those makeups. So he started writing his paper. I was like, okay, so if you are really into this topic, you can do that. But, you know, as a man, you know, I don't know, if I'm required to write such a paper, you know, it's not exciting or interesting. It's going to be suffering for me. So, and then he gave up. Okay, it was like after like 1 month of struggling, he finally gave up. So it's like, I'm gonna do animal protection. You know, no cosmetics. Okay. So here's a video about the professor talking about her research. You can go back home and follow the link to watch this video to get more precise ideas about what research is like. And we're going to talk about that later in this class, okay? So a good way to understand the importance of research is to imagine that your paper is part of your job and you are researching because you truly want, okay? So I don't know if you guys really want to research. So how many of you say, Eric, I'm so passionate, I'm so excited about writing this research paper? Hands up? No. Yeah. The same thing happens to me all the time. Okay, whenever I ask my students, do you really want to write a research paper? They're like, no. Okay, but it's part of this course. Okay, so starting from today, all the way to the end of the semester, you're gonna enjoy this long journey, about 10 weeks of writing this research paper. It's gonna be really fun. Okay, I want to be there for you guys. You know, it's something like this, okay? So during the 10 weeks, you guys are going to be suffering, okay? You're going to do all the research, collecting all those sources, and write your research paper. And the last week is the suffering week for me, because I have to grade 15 papers from you guys. Anyway, we all suffer, okay? And try to enjoy that process, okay? So, I remember like some of you told me that you are interested in getting a master's degree or a PhD in the future. So if you really want to do that, you know, you really have to learn this well, okay? Because universities or different organizations, they pay scholars or professors or teachers, okay, to write research papers. You know, they call them, what's that word again? The think tanks, okay? So you help them to make the right decision, okay? So that's why it's so important to write a research paper, okay? Now let's go back to the blogger, and here's a very good example of how to write a research paper, okay? So right under the teacher's lecture, there's a YouTube video.
I'm about to write the...
Okay. You know, I I'm not really into those cartoon things, so I remember last semester when I was playing this video, I was saying, wow, this lovely cheese thing. You're like, this is SpongeBob. Okay. Anyway, so this is pretty short. Let's take a look at it. And this is how SpongeBob.
The greatest essay of all time. Like most great essays, it will be written on paper. Even more important than the paper is the pencil. Oh boy! Okay, here we go. Here we go. Day 2. Day 3. Okay, Mr. Essay, I say, prepare to be written! How it looks so far.
Nothing. Okay, so my question is this. Do you think this is the right way to write your research paper in this class?
No.
Why not? I think this is pretty cool, okay? But you guys need to have SpongeBob's spirit, okay? You're really passionate and enjoying this process, okay? Feels like really into it. Okay, so what's wrong with SpongeBob writing newspaper?
Sleep too much.
Sleep too much. Okay, you cannot be a sleeper. You know, like the person who sleeps a lot and write your research paper. Okay, so the reason why we're having 10 weeks, about 10 weeks, for you guys to write a paper which is about 5 to 7 pages long. Okay, it sounds like really short. Okay, but the reason why is it too long? 5 to 7 pages is about like 2,000 words. Okay, it's pretty short. Okay, trust me. So the reason why I gave you so much time on that is not like this. Okay, for the first 9 weeks, I can just go hang out with my friends, get drunk, and go date my girlfriend. And then last week I come back. Okay, now it's time to write my research paper. It's not how it works. Okay. I had some students, not so many, but like quite a few students. So they were saying, well, you know, I'm such a smart person, I don't need so much time. 10 weeks to write 5 to 7 pages, that's not something I do. So they just, you know, go out and do all those crazy things, get drunk, and go to, you know, all those different parties. And then, you know, last week, they fail. Okay, you know, for a research paper, it's not like something you write for a TOEFL test. Okay, it's not going to be like you sit in there, you write for 30 minutes, and that's a paper. No. Okay, so 2 things you have to learn from SpongeBob. Okay, good things, you have to have his spirit. Okay, his passion for writing, even though he wrote nothing at last. The other thing is that don't do things like him. Okay, that's not good. Okay, you're gonna suffer so much. And so here is a little activity. Okay, so still working groups 2 or 3. Okay, so here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, here are 8 steps in here. Okay, 8 steps in here. Open it up. Talk to your partner or partners. Okay. And try to order them in the right order, okay, in the right sequence, okay. So when you write your research paper, what should be your first step and what should be your last step, okay?
I see. The first step is choosing topic. Against this issue, through research and secure staff, and background
So when you're done with the sequencing, try to write about like 1 or 2 sentences for each step. Explain what's involved.
research
You first note taking and then
research I don't know where should I download that.
Yeah, just download it.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
why that step is so important is very about what specific thing.
I think that is so cool.
In true research, you decide what aspect of the topic you're going to talk about.
You're an expert.
So your paper can be more specific. That is how you get the information. How you get
Note taking. You take notes.
Just like
That's right. So that must
presentation is how you transform your idea to other people. That is how others can get comprehensive.
Presentation? No, presentation.
This is two, okay?
How much is this for?
15%.
Please don't read.
Okay. So let's do this together. So what should be the very first step?
Choose a topic.
Pre-research. You don't have a topic and you start researching. On what?
A topic, like what you're interested in, what you want to write.
Yeah, you have to choose a topic first, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about how to choose a topic.
Research.
Like research for topics.
Yeah.
Research for topics. You don't have to do research for topics.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we can.
You are a very deep thinker. But anyway, so the very first step should be choosing a topic. Okay? We're going to talk about this later in class, but just a few suggestions. So many people think, well, I don't want to choose those very traditional topics which they think are cliches. But the things that, as I just told you, this guy from last semester, he chose a topic on makeups, and then he suffered. Okay? So make sure you can find something, okay, on that topic, okay? And there were also some people who were choosing topic like on automobiles, like cars, okay, like electric cars and those kind of stuff. Those are really new stuff. That makes it harder because because it's really new, so it's really hard for you to find sources on that. Okay, other papers on that topic, it's pretty hard. Okay, so what's the next step? Pre-research. Okay, pre-research. Really? So which one should we first? Should you do pre-research or develop a research question first?
Research.
You guys have the answer key in here.
That is not always.
Choose a topic, okay, very first one, and pre-research, okay. When you choose a topic, make sure it's broad, okay. Make sure it's broad, so that you can read different articles or papers on that. So you can choose, you can narrow it down later. So you do pre-research, okay. So this is for you to read different papers on that, and then you develop a research question, okay. So that's going to be the focus of your paper. So what kind of question you want to answer, or what kind of problems you want to solve in your paper, okay? And then the formal source search, okay? So you have your topic, and then you go for those specific sources, articles, okay, papers, and then you do note taking. So what's note taking?
Take notes.
Thank you. Take notes. Okay. So why do we have to take notes?
To make sure which part is like really
Which part? Okay. So just to make sure like which part is useful for our paper. Okay. So when you find so many sources like the paper I showed you, okay, the paper I wrote, so it's like 17 pages, and I used like 30 sources on that. So it doesn't mean I have to use all those things in those papers. That's not going to happen. That's impossible. So you have to take notes, okay, on what things you're gonna use in your paper, okay. And of course, I don't think you guys, at least me, I don't have such a good memory. I have to take notes to make sure that I remember things, okay? And then outline. So, how many of you have the habit of writing an outline for a paper? Who does? You do? Okay, so you do outline for every paper you write?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. So you have 10 weeks. Okay, you have to do online for that. Okay, so this is like the skeleton. Okay, you develop the form, and then you put things into it, and then you start writing. Okay, the next step is the writing. Okay, and then presentation. Okay, some people were asking me, so do I have to do presentation in this class? Sure. You know, I'll give you guys like 15 minutes, each of you 15 minutes to present your paper. You're gonna be standing here like me, you know, with a camera on you, and then you just, you're the expert in that field, and then you just tell me what's in your paper, okay? It's gonna be 50% of your final grade. What's so funny? That was a joke, okay? There's no presentation in this class, okay? But for other classes, I think that they do presentations. But for 115, we don't have presentation, okay? So you have only 7 steps in here, okay? So let me ask you a question. It's really simple. For the writing process, okay, how much time do you need to put into it? As much as you want. Okay, so let me tell this. Okay, you have 10 weeks. Okay, let's say only 10% of your time should be in the writing process. Okay, other time should be in all those stuff. Okay, so if you're really prepared, you're well prepared in those steps, you will have no problem in writing your paper. Okay, so that's why SpongeBob, you know, sleeping, and then he skipped all those steps, and then he could not write the paper. Okay, so those are the steps, and here's the demonstration of those steps in here. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the 2 major types of research paper. Okay. So, as we were talking about just now, 2 types here. Okay. So argumentative and analytical. Okay, we talked about this already. So what is a writing prompt? I remember many people were asking me, what is a writing prompt? Okay, so common definition for prompt is the cause to take action. Okay, so the writing prompt gives you the details and guidelines for what you write about and how to write your paper. Okay, the language of the prompt will give you clues as to which kind of paper to write, whether it's argumentative or analytical. So, what paper are we writing for this class? Analytical, right? Okay, so don't write something argumentative. Okay, I had one student last semester. He ended up in writing argumentative paper, so it's not good. Okay. So the kind of research paper will affect, okay, tone, essay structure, sources used. Okay, tone is something you guys should really pay attention to. We talk about this academic style. Okay, so let's look at those 2 examples in here. Okay, for argumentative. Okay, so here's the prompt. Okay, write 10 pages discussing whether the United States should encourage state governments to allow charter schools as another option for public education. Okay, so what makes it an argumentative?
Should.
Where's the word? Should. Okay, remember the prompt for the diagnostic paper? Should parents be concerned about their children using iPads, right? Okay, so you're arguing whether they should or not. Okay, analytical. Okay, the same thing in here, but write 10 pages explaining how public education has been negatively affected by charter schools in those states who have allowed them to develop in the last 5 years. Okay, you are evaluating and discussing. Okay, you're not saying, well, which one is right and which one is wrong. Okay, so if a paper uses a logical progression of ideas, do you think it's argumentative, analytical, or both? Argumentative. It's both, right? You cannot write a paper without any logic in there. Okay. Next one. So the goal of persuading readers to a point of view. Argumentative. Okay, you see the word persuading here. Okay, that's good. So has a thesis statement. Both. Okay. And uses strong words of feeling. Argumentative. Okay. So it feels like you are fighting with someone. Okay. Remains objective. Analytical. Good. Last one uses data from reliable sources. Both. Okay. So even though your diagnostic paper, you didn't have to use sources, just the article, but in the real argumentative paper, you have to use a lot of sources. Okay. So basically, argumentative research paper consists of an introduction in which the writer clearly introduces the topic and informs his audience exactly which stance he intends to take. Okay, so the key word in here is the stance. Okay, in argumentative paper, you need to have stance, your view of point. Okay, and the goal of this type of paper is persuasion. Okay? You're trying to convince other people to believe what you believe in. Okay? But analytical is also often begins with the researcher asking a research question on which he has taken no stance. Okay? So the key word here is no stance. Okay? No stance. And in analytical research paper, you have to form a research question, and that's the basis of analytical research paper. The question should be neutral, without a predetermined stance. Okay, always keep this in mind. And we're going to talk about this later in class. And provides direction for you to evaluate and explore the topic as it relates to answering the question. Okay. And your thesis should present the research question, and the remainder of your paper supports your thesis. Okay. Examples. Okay. An analysis of the Uranus Alp reveals two kinds of flight patterns: patterns related to hunting prey and patterns related to courtship. Argumentative or analytical? Analytical. It's really obvious, right? You have word analysis. Okay. Smoking should be banned in all public places. Argumentative. Okay. You see the word should in here. Okay. So since we're writing analytical paper in this class, so there are a few kinds of analytical research papers. So the first type is question answer. Okay. The second one is problem solution. And the third one is hypothesis proof, comparison contrast, cause effect. Okay, so 5 types. Okay, so which one do you think we're writing in this class? Take a guess. Which one? Cause effect. Comparison contrast. Okay. I'll tell later. Okay. So for this topic, homelessness. If you see the question answer prompt for this topic, it looks something like this. Why has the homeless population increased in the United States by 10% in the last 2 years? Okay, you see the word here, why? Okay, so this is the question you ask, and then you're going to answer this question throughout your paper. Okay, so this is question answer prompt. And problem solution. So describe and analyze 3 solutions that New York City has implemented to address the problem of homelessness. Okay, so that's how you solve problem. Okay, hypothesis, proof, prompt. Hypothesize and prove the relevance of one of the 3 sociological homeless treatment models to a major city in the United States. Okay, you see, those words give you the hint. Comparison and contrast, compare and contrast. Okay, that's pretty easy. Cause effect, discuss the causes of youth, homeless, and its effect on childhood development. Okay, so basically when you look at the prompt, it's pretty obvious for you to see whether it's a comparison contrast, whether it's a problem solution, or something else. Okay, so now let me tell you, in this class, we're going to write a research paper, which is problem solution. Okay, who got it right? Nobody? I was thinking about giving you guys some bonus points for now. Got it. Everybody got it. Okay. So now let's do a little prompt analysis in here. Okay. So the broad topic is college tuition. Okay, I want you guys to work with your partners. Okay, since we're not writing question answer, hypothesis proof, so now you have to give me 2 prompts. Okay, one for argumentative, and one for analytical, which is problem solution. Okay, you have to develop 2 prompts for that. Okay, work with a partner and type your answers in there. So what's the argumentative prompt?
College students pay college tuition.
Whether the college tuition is too high for students to.
And what's the problem solution?
And now the college students pay tuition.
It's horrible.
College students pay too much tuition. Well, you may need to choose one.
You guys are being reasonable here. The college tuition, your students be paid, be reduced. Yeah, those guys are already saying that students pay for college tuition.
Which one do we need to I think it's quite a it's just mathematics.
Increasing.
All those things are super rare. Yeah, that's the problem. They're going to do it.
Yeah, these
Channels are going to
but we should think about how to reduce them, not increasing more. Will kill me. How to scroll school. Okay, so this is not too hard, right? So what can be a good argumentative prompt for this topic? I think most of you were talking about like should colleges reduce their tuition for students, something like that, right? And there were one crazy person here saying, well, should colleges increase their tuition more? It's like, it's pretty high already. And those two gentlemen right here, I love their idea. They were saying, should students pay college tuition at all?
Not at all.
No. Okay, so what about problem solution prompts? Can be a good one for that.
How to reduce how to avoid college tuition?
Yeah. So they were saying how to help students avoid paying tuition in college.
Hack into the bank system.
Okay. Maybe you can say, well, explore 3 ways or solutions to help students or to help school reduce their tuition for students, something like that. Okay. I don't think it's going to happen for everyone to not pay tuition to go to college.
Some European countries, like Germany.
Yeah, like Germany. Yeah, I know. Yeah, some of my friends they go to Germany to go to school and they don't have to pay tuition, but their living expenses is really high. Right? It's just incredible. It's okay. And the tuition in China is like really cheap. Yeah, like really cheap. Yeah. Okay. Here's expensive. Okay, so there's no homework for to write today, but go back home and start to think about like what kind of topic you want to write for your research paper. And reminder for those of you who still haven't started your plagiarism prevention tutorial on Compass 3G, start as soon as possible because we're going to have an in-class certification test on Friday. Okay, so we'll come on Friday. We're going to have test. You fail it, you fail the course. Okay, this is really disastrous. Okay, have a good one. We'll see you guys Friday.
这直接拿来他不喜欢买。但是如果你没过，就只有另外一个搞另外一个。
我是说，在那个他的那个上面我们要看那个东西对吧？我们要看，然后做quiz，那个quiz不上去，然后之后课上做那个。